Guns up, Poke fans. It's time for PokeCast. Broadcasting live at Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, located at 500 East McNeese Street in Lake Charles. Now, here's your host, Jim Gazzolo.
We're back for another week of PokeCast from Mr. Bill's. I want to thank our sponsors for this. I want to thank 92.9 The Lake for having us on. And I want to say that we're happy that people are here. I know a lot of people are down the street right now drinking free beer at the Legacy Center for the basketball kind of tip-off thing. So we thank you for joining us here at Mr. Bill's. Reminder that tonight we have a $50 free Visa gift card for a student. We will do a drawing at the end of the show. That's provided by Southwest Louisiana Credit Union. That's a $50 Visa gift card. After the show, you get your card in over here underneath the TV, and we will make that drawing at the end of the show. All right. 3 guests tonight. Sasha Karlov from volleyball, Drew Fitzgerald from soccer, and Gary Goff from football. So we're going to go around. This is homecoming week. The crowd not as big here because there are a lot of things going on out there, but we hope you join us at least on the radio for this. Interesting times. Coach, volleyball, you guys got 2 home games for homecoming. What do you do special for homecoming?
I mean, I don't know if we do anything extra on our side of things. We did move up the games a little bit so that can accommodate people and we can get more people in the stands. But, I mean, we're going to treat it like any other game day, you know. We're just trying to take care of business every match and hopefully finish strong so that we can build that momentum going into the conference tournament in a couple weeks. Last
night you guys swept Nichols. Tomorrow night you have Incarnate Word at home, then Commerce on Saturday. Where do you guys stand in the standings? Right now you're in 3rd place. Is there movement for you, or are you kind of locked in?
There's definitely movement that can happen. Obviously we need to finish strong against 2 of the top opponents. We play HCU at the end. We play Southeastern as our last match in regular season at home. But obviously before that, there's plenty of, volleyball to be played. And, those teams also have to finish strong as well. So there could be some movement. But we're hoping our biggest thing is just to keep getting better every single match and growing so that we're peaking at the right time.
And you're obviously going for the conference tournament, which starts in Corpus Christi on the 16th of November. They're the number 1 seed. Do they automatically get it because of that, or do they have to bid for it?
Well, you got to bid for the conference tournament to host it, but that doesn't mean they're going to be the number 1 seed. They still have to finish the regular season as the first place team, but the top 2 seeds get a bye, an auto bye into the semis, which is a big deal. So, depending on how you look at it, if you get the 3rd or 4th seed, you get a match to kind of warm yourself up, but it's also nice to be ready and right into the semifinals. So
now, once again, last week or this week, Bailey Tillman named Defensive Player of the Week in the conference. Does she just kind of own that award now?
Yeah, I almost posted it on my social media, like, let's change the name of the award to Bailey Tillman, but I didn't do that, obviously. We got to keep working on her craft. She's definitely, even this year, she's improved a ton, and especially in her leadership responsibilities and helping the young kids kind of make their way through the program. So I'm just really proud of her to be able to go out and continue to get better, even though she's already proved herself as one of the best defenders in the league.
She's had to take on a different role this year because this team is so much younger. How has it kind of grown this year and this fall?
So much growth, just more mentally than physically, I think. Just getting to know each other, whether it's the players together, but also with the coaching staff, for them to understand me and my system, what I expect of them. Every single day it gets easier and easier. They always say with time, it takes time. But we've just been having a lot of fun. The last couple weeks have been, honestly, some of the most enjoyable weeks of the season. And not just because we've been winning, I feel like we've totally bought in and we're having a good time at practice, and it's shown in games too.
Has those early games against tough competition kind of paid off now?
I think so. I mean, I think depends on how you look at it. Definitely tough for the young kids being thrown into the Wolves, playing BYU and Houston and all that. But I feel like we are saying the right things now. Like the conversations, originally it was just the coaching staff talking about, okay, we need to have intention, we need to have good energy, we need to have effort. now we have kids saying that. We don't have to say it as much. So that's what you want as a coach. You want your older kids to be the ones saying the right things so that we don't have to hone in on it all the time, because it just gets really repetitive and it honestly loses its value when the coaches have to do it all the time.
Now, early in the year, you made a mention that this kind of group is kind of your group compared to last year where you had a lot of kids that came in your first year and you already had them established. This was kind of your team. Do you feel like that kind of transformation's happened?
Yes, for sure. I mean, even like the freshmen that I recruited, I really didn't have like several years to recruit them. You know, it was kind of late in the game, so I still didn't know them quite as well as maybe the 2025 class that I'm recruiting right now, right? You know, they're in the middle of their junior season. So I think that's the beauty of it, is like over time, our relationships have gotten stronger off the court, which has resulted in, you know, better results on the court, you know? And so, again, I think it's just maturity, the college experience. Obviously, there's a lot to adjust to, but the volleyball is getting better, and I think that's making everybody enjoy what they're doing a little bit more. So,
when you bring in a lot of young kids like you did, a lot of new pieces, how much of a time does it take in the fall just to get established on campus and know where the campus is?
It definitely takes time. I mean, our campus isn't very big. I always say you can't get lost on that campus, but at the same time, it's like being away from home is the biggest part. I think even for me, when I was playing, I didn't go to school very far, like 30 minutes. Like my parents were right down the road, but it's still an adjustment to be living on your own, making your own decisions, time management. You know, as coaches, and I have to remind myself too, is like you're taking almost like a parental role too, you know, not just coaching, but like you're kind of their parents to some degree, or I would say older sister, because I'm not that much older than them, but I am taking that role, and I don't take that for granted. So trying to help them through the whole process of adjusting to college, especially because I've been through it at the Division I level, and just be that mentor for them as an older sister type person.
Now, you came over from Corpus, so you know that what's established there. How close do you feel your program is to catching up to them, and is that kind of the standard you're going for, them in Southeastern?
I mean, I don't think we're trying to be anybody but the best versions of ourselves. I want to be the best in the conference, and I don't really care who is at the top. I want to beat the people at the top. It just so happens that Corpus is at the top, and they are every year, and Steve does a really good job with, you know, recruiting and developing, and I worked for him, so a lot of the stuff that I do does come from him, and I have so much respect for what they do, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's who we're trying to, I guess, mirror our program on. We still have our own identity, but yes, I mean, I think they are doing some good things. Southeastern especially, I mean, they've won 15 matches in a row. I have so much respect for what Jeremy's doing over there, so it's more of a respect thing, not necessarily trying to mirror what they're doing, but I've been in the conference for 5 years. I feel like I have a good idea of like the type of athlete that does well volleyball-wise in this conference, so I think I do have a leg up when it comes to recruiting and knowing the type of kids that have more success.
Are you finding more interest on the high school level in volleyball here the last couple of years? Since you've been here, you've kind of tried to expose more kids to it. Have you seen that?
As far as like recruiting
some of the
high school kids
and just the area.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that we have South Beach right down the road, so people are getting acclimated to just beach volleyball, whether that's outdoors, you know, obviously indoors. We're trying to get out in the community a little bit more. I've actually went and watched some high school games. I'm really big on trying to get more Louisiana kids involved in our program and be part of our program. I think I've really trying to get accustomed to the I guess the culture. I really love this state, even though I'm not from here. So I'm just trying to get more of those type of kids. They seem to be very, you know, hardworking, blue collar, you know, obviously really come from really good families, family oriented. So, I mean, I think overall getting volleyball in the community, whether it's on a fun level like at South Beach or, you know, coming to Legacy for a match, any way to get this sport out there, I think is a good thing.
And I guess the big question for a lot of people is, who are some of the surprises or some of the kids that have really taken the next step that you saw this fall? Because you've kind of had to grow a lot. Who have you seen really take those next steps, and some of the freshmen especially?
I would say definitely our setter, Megan. You know, she's dealt with some adversity with injuries and whatnot, but She's grown a ton, whether that's when she was on the court, obviously healthy. She was our starting setter for a while until she went down. But more so her maturity and her leadership within the freshman class. I mean, she's one of those kids that is very authentic. She's very unapologetically herself. You know what you're going to get from her. And I think that's rare for a freshman. Normally they come in and they want to, feel things out first before they kind of let people in. And I think she did a really good job of just being herself and acclimating to the older kids and bridging that gap and kind of leading the charge for the freshman class.
Last year in the conference tournament, what did you learn from that? What do you think you need to improve on? And how important is it to get on a kind of a run here going in?
Yeah, I think last year, I think we did peak at the right time. I think physically we had all the tools to push that Southeastern team to 4 sets to potentially 5 sets and beat them. I think it's more just like the mental part. I think at the end, more focus on the mental game and less on physical, because you're not going to make huge adjustments at the end of a season. Like we talk about in practice, you're not going to make all these changes in your game with 3 weeks left of season. It's more just maintenance. And then how can I get an edge mentally to stay locked in for a longer period than the other team? And I think last year, just learning from that, I think we've been having those conversations all season about our mental stability, handling pressure. We've been watching more videos than we ever have. We've been reading more than we ever have. I think just training the whole game, whereas last year I felt like I was more focused on the physical part and less about the mental. And that's just me as a head coach, learning myself, what's more important, especially when the going gets tough in the conference tournament and you're basically playing for your life at that point.
I know with football there's a lot of talk. Coaches always say to make sure they're focused during homecoming week and their kids are focused on the events and the game, not just everything else that's going on. Do you have to do that for your kids too?
Now that you say that, maybe I do. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't think so. I'm not worried about it. The girls are, the core group that we have right now, we've just been through a lot this season and all the growth. So I think everybody's really just dialed in, ready for the next game. We're always we were happy yesterday. We played really clean volleyball yesterday, but after the game, we're happy, but hey, on to the next. There's more volleyball to be played, and we really can't let one performance define us. We talk about that a lot too. It's one really good win or one bad loss. It's what we do over time that truly matters. So I don't think I have to worry about it because these girls have been talking about finishing strong a lot. But obviously we remind them. They're young. We're the older sister type. We got to keep reminding them of the things that they might not remember. So. And
you got the 2 matches this weekend, starting Thursday night, starting tomorrow night in the Legacy Center. How important are those? Because you're above them in the standings. You want to keep them at bay, but you also want to make sure you don't lose track of the guys in front of you.
Yeah, these are so important. I would say more important than anything, because it's easy to get up for the Corpuses and the Southeasterns when okay, they're at the top, we're coming for them, the target's on their back, blah, 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 But I think the target's kind of on our back right now. And I tell them, I said, look, you can't just show up. You think you can just show up, and that's when you get embarrassed at home, and that's not okay. We talk a lot about having pride in our gym and our home facility. It's an amazing facility. We're grateful to play there. We're grateful to practice there. So we are grateful that people show up that have maybe never watched volleyball in their life. I always say, if somebody's there to watch you play and they've never seen you play, what are they going to say about you the first time they watch you play? Are they going to say you're going hard on every point, giving everything you have? Okay, that's where we want to be. Because if somebody shows up, never seen our team play, I want to make sure the mentality is we're putting on a good show, especially for our home base here in Lake Charles.
And obviously that's tomorrow night. You said you changed the times. When are you playing? What time?
We moved the match up to 4 o'clock tomorrow, and then the Saturday match is at 11. So we're playing earlier, which, again, is just different for the girls. They haven't played at 4 o'clock this season, but nothing we can't handle, so we got it.
All right, thanks, Coach, for joining us. Sasha Karlov on McNeese Volleyball. They play twice this weekend at home, Thursday night against Incarnate Word, Saturday against Commerce. 2 of their last 3 home games, and they will finish off at home against Southeastern, the final match of the season. They're in 3rd place right now, trying to get in the top 2 to get a bye in the tournament. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back right after this.
Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, located at 500 East McNeese Street in Lake Charles, is locally owned and operated. Don't forget to check out Mr. Bill's Seafood Express daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Mr. Bill's Seafood Express also has live music every Thursday and Saturday night. Chad Poussaint and Jason Guillory, the owners of Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, proudly support the McNeese Cowboys. Mr. Bill's Seafood Express, 500 East McNeese Street in Lake Charles, says go Pokes.
The McNeese PokeCast is also brought to you by Keelan Construction. Keelan Construction is South Louisiana's leading vertical and horizontal general contractor. Keelan courageously pursues complex challenges to advance further the life and culture of our staff and the communities we serve. And also brought to you by Southwest Beverage. Rooted in the community of Southwest Louisiana since 1954, Southwest Beverage has been a family-owned and operated business for 3 generations. Bud Light and Southwest Beverage has been a loyal supporters of McNeese State University for over 30 years by providing athletic scholarships as well as scholarships for students. We pride ourselves on being the premier beverage supplier in Southwest Louisiana and will continue to be here for many years to come. Thank you for your support of our brands and McNeese Athletics, and as always, go Pokes.
We're back at Mr. Bill's across campus, right down the road from what is a basketball event tonight, where they are kind of showcasing the men's basketball team for the first time to the, I guess, season ticket holders at the Legacy Center. Will Wade's team, which will open at Virginia Commonwealth in a couple of weeks now. Actually, inside of 2 weeks, basketball will be here. So the Will Wade era is about to open up. As I always say, it's Will Wade's world. We're just happy to be a part of it, Marcus, aren't we? Just happy to be a part of it. Drew Fitzgerald joining us from McNeese Soccer on this next segment, and Gary Goff will be at the bottom of the hour. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so right now, where are you guys? You're looking to be either second or third. You're trying to beat the 2 seed, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We'll play Friday night, and if we win, we'll be the 2 seed. We're either going to finish second or third. So we're in that. A win puts us in second. A tie or a loss puts us in third. And we have no idea who will play down the
road.
Yeah.
But do you get a bye with the second seed or no?
2 seed doesn't. So for soccer, it's just the 1
seed.
seed.
It's the first seed.
So you're just playing literally for seeding and time of game, that sort of thing.
And you're playing Texas Commerce, who is right now ahead of you.
Right. Texas A&M Commerce is currently in second. They're 3 points ahead. So if we win, we'll be tied, but we'll own the head-to-head against them. So
you'll bump them up.
Mm-hmm.
So a win gets you a 2 seed. A loss and a tie makes you third. This is the 10th most wins in program history for a season.
Okay.
Okay. Just trying to go through some notes here.
I got you.
But are you surprised by that season, or is it? What kind of a season has it been for you, and is there a surprise in that somewhat?
Yeah, I think I had no idea 10th most. I didn't know that number. I think we're not surprised with how they've competed. We've completely changed the style of play this year from what we've ever done.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting transition with some bumps along the way. But no, to say we're surprised, no. We know our team will compete every day. In fact, that's one of our knock that soccer ball off your table. That's one of our mottos. One of the things we talk about all the time is commit, compete, and then we get to celebrate. So. We know they'll show up and compete, so I don't think we're surprised, but we're really happy with what they've done this year.
If you have any questions here for Coach Fitzgerald, just step to the microphone, give us your name, and ask away. You said you've changed the way you've kind of played this year. One, why did you do that? And two, what has actually changed?
I think there were probably a few reasons we did it. The primary was when we started the season, we were out 5 or 6 projected starters. And so after the first exhibition game, we realized with this group, we're not going to be able to play the way we've played in the past. We don't have it athletically. So we found a style that worked for us and that was working, and we're kind of rolling. We're in every game. Games we shouldn't be in, we're in. And so as we got healthy, we just plugged players into that style instead of trying to shift everything mid-season. And it's been great. I think they've really bought in, and it's allowed us to build some real depth that maybe we didn't think we had at the beginning of the year. So it's been really exciting.
Was it hard to get them to buy in, or did they buy in pretty quick?
I think when we got to play I think South Alabama now is like number 26 or 30 in the country, right? They're really good. When they saw it work against them, and we were really in that game and competed well, I think at that point it was easy to get buy-in. Up until then, yeah, they wanted to play a bit more. They wanted to do some things we'd done before, and then there was a little push and pull of trying to figure out who we were. But that game really solidified who we were, I think.
So the results kind of dictated what they thought of it.
Yeah, I think to some degree. I think not so much the results. We actually lost that game. I think it was the way the game went and the way we game planned for it. And they executed the game plan. They saw success. I think that's what gets you to buy in.
Well, that's the most important thing. I talked about your goalie, Jackie Kelly, an .869 save percentage, number 11th in the country. What has she done for you?
Yeah, she's been amazing. I think on the weekend she was fantastic. We suffered a loss on Friday, where she only played in the first half. We didn't give a goal in the first half, and she made a spectacular save to keep that game blank. And then on Sunday, she's just clean. She doesn't make mistakes, and I don't want to jinx anything. She's just been technically perfect, and then she comes up with one or two big plays a game, and she's just been making everything. She's been phenomenal.
The style you said, because you said you were going to play more of a conservative style. Does a goalie become more important in that situation, or?
Yeah, I think she really, she anchors us for sure. She has to be, because it's not just about her position and making saves, which she's been phenomenal, but she's got to control the back line and the defense. She has to know what everybody's doing and when and where they're supposed to be. And so that's really been her strength, is the tactical awareness. She's been just wonderful.
And when does your conference tournament start in Corpus?
We play on Wednesday, so we don't know who we play yet because it's a big mess in the standings. But we'll play Wednesday, most likely at 1 or 4.
How often do you play when you're in a tournament like that?
We'll play it. You got to win. It's not double elimination. It's a single game, and you're basically playing 3 games. You play every other day. So we'll play Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
So that's pretty rough on a soccer player, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Wednesday, Friday is tough enough. So typically we're playing Friday, Sunday. A lot of leagues have gone to Thursday, Sunday for the extra day of rest. So that third game becomes Sasha talked about the mental side. That third game is all about the mental side. Who's going to push through some pain, because you're going to be in pain.
So that's where being the number 1 seed would be pretty good. You only have 2 games.
Yeah, after 2 games, that's right.
That's a big difference. Soccer here, have you seen it grow now over the last couple of years, and do you feel pretty good about how you've grown it?
Yeah, I think we've done a good job with the program. I think we've been very fortunate that soccer in Louisiana has continued to get better, just as a whole, and so that's helped us on the recruiting ground, and even locally we've had great support. The local soccer club does a fantastic job, at least through the youth soccer, so we've had great support there as well.
Drew Fitzgerald is our guest, McNeese soccer coach, and the Southland Conference is kind of a strange thing of who invests and who doesn't invest in their programs and that. Have you seen more soccer getting invested the last couple of years?
I think you see that in facilities, right? I think that's where it shows it the most. And I think if you look at the top of the conference, you'll see teams that have their own facilities that are playing on nice grass surfaces. So I certainly think there is some of that happening, but everybody out there is competing, and I think everybody in the conference is fully funded or close to it. So in terms of scholarships, so I think it's a tough day every day you're out there for sure.
I asked the volleyball coach this, so I'll ask you the same thing. Homecoming week. Do you get concerned about it? Do you kind of want to make sure they stay focused?
I get concerned about how I'm going to get home after training with the parade route. That's my biggest concern, is which route am I going to take to get back. No, I don't worry about them too much. Kind of like Sasha's players, they've got a good focus. They understand what's at stake. And they're just, the homecoming week for them, it's fun. They'll get to go to the game on Saturday, which is exciting. But it's not really a big concern for us.
Well, then I guess that's the big question is, what route do you take to get home?
I haven't figured it out yet. I got to go look at that parade route and see.
So you try to avoid the parade route.
Well, if I can sit there and watch with my kids, I got to get there and bring them back, right? Since we train right before the parade.
Yeah.
So and every year we get to watch the floats go down Common Street as we're training, so that is a bit of a distraction. That's probably my biggest homecoming concern, is can we stop looking at the street for a few minutes?
Stop looking at the floats as they go by.
Yeah, we get to see the parade early. So
who is going to be a tough out in the conference tournament. And what would it say about beating Commerce at this time to kind of set a stage? Because essentially you would probably have to play them again in the semis.
Yeah, I think whatever happens in that matchup, it is a chance to feel each other out because we haven't played each other this year. So certainly there will be a learning curve. I don't know if winning them is an advantage now mentally or if just playing them and understanding each other gives you the edge. So I think it is interesting to play them right at the end of the season and be where we are and know you'll see each other. But I think tomorrow's for us or Friday for us is really about just stepping back on the field again and competing and trying to get the best result we can. But I think you talked about homecoming week being a challenge. I think the challenge for us is ahead of us is locking in on Friday and not worrying about the tournament yet. And because the tournament it's such a quick turnaround for us from Friday's match to Wednesday's match and being in the tournament. So we've got to really focus on Friday.
And with that in mind, when you talk about the tournament, will you show everything this weekend for that? Because it is a seed.
Yeah, I don't think we have too many secrets to hide. The way we're playing is who we are. Sasha talked about you're not making any big changes. Actually, last week on Friday, we tried a few things. We thought that was a game we could afford to try some things, and so that was the one game we chose to, hey, we'll push the envelope here and see what we can do. But everybody knows who we are, and you kind of know who everybody is at this point. I don't think there's too many tricks. Maybe a play here or there you can run on a set piece, but that's
you changed some of the things you were going to do this season because of health and some of the injuries early in the year. How are you health-wise now as you come to the end?
We've been very fortunate until this week. We got a little banged up again. We were getting players back. I think we'll have most of them for Friday, and we're fortunate that all the injuries we have right now are just kind of the nagging things that at least by Wednesday we're going to be healthy again. Friday will be interesting to see. There are a couple players that are kind of touch and go. But overall we're good and we feel good about where we're at.
But you're not going to push them Friday because you want them healthy for the tournament.
It's tough, isn't it? It's a tough call as a coach figuring out what's important.
Would it be different if a bye was on the line?
I do think it would be different for sure. If the bye was on the line and the opportunity to get those extra days of rest was there, you could afford to push through, and play one less game. So, yeah, but I think, we're just talking to athletic trainers every day and seeing where they're at and trying to manage their workload. But
it's always interesting when you're going to play somebody and then you're going to turn around and there's somebody you got to beat a couple days later.
Yeah, and the league right now, top to bottom, is so good. There's so much parity. Like, with the exception of maybe the bottom team right now, I think everybody is capable of winning a game on the day. So you can't overlook. There's no warm-up game, so to speak, in the tournament, whether you're the 2 seed or the 7 seed, anybody can beat anybody. So it'll be interesting. But I think Friday is going to be a lot of fun. It's our senior night. We're going to celebrate those players after the match. Our parents are tailgating before the game. We'd love to have people out, kind of pack the pitch and get as many people out to that field as we can for senior night to celebrate those 7 seniors.
What time is your match Friday night?
We play at 6. You can start tailgating around 4:45. Be fine.
So you want them to tailgate early. Come early, come often.
Yeah.
Show up and be there.
Don't be afraid to be loud.
And be loud.
Yeah.
And be boisterous.
We'd love to have you there being loud, for sure.
Drew Fitzgerald's been our guest on the second segment here at McNeese on the PokeCast. They play Commerce for the 2nd seed on Friday night at 6 p.m. at the pitch. The winner gets the 2 seed. A loss or a tie leaves McNeese in 3rd. Then the conference tournament at Corpus Christi starting Wednesday night for McNeese. Either way, depending on who they'll play, is how they finish. So thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
The McNeese PokeCast is also brought to you by Southwest Louisiana Credit Union. Southwest Louisiana Credit Union now offers an account just for McNeese students. It's the Blue and Gold checking account. All it takes is $5 to get you in. You get a free debit card, online and mobile banking, and access to a smart ATMs. There's no service charge. You can even get free financial counseling. That's why Southwest Louisiana Credit Union is now the official credit union for McNeese students and McNeese athletics. Find out more at swlacu.com. To open a Blue and Gold checking account, go by Southwest Louisiana Credit Union at 4056 Ryan Street, about a block away from campus. Membership is required.
As the oldest athletic booster organization at McNeese, the McNeese Cowboy Club is proud to continue providing support to all McNeese athletes for 49 years. We meet every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. in the Cowboy Club room located over the south end zone with talks from coaches and other leaders in McNeese athletics. Come join us and discover what being a McNeese Athletic Booster is all about.
And go Pokes.
They always. We're back at the McNeese PokeCast on this Wednesday evening, homecoming week. Gary Goff is our guest right now for the third and fourth segment. Don't forget, tonight we have a $50 Visa card for any student here who wins the drawing. That's from Southwest Louisiana Credit Union. If you have questions for Coach Goff, you can come up to the microphone. Not a big crowd tonight, Coach, because it's homecoming and there's the big event down the street where it's free beer.
Oh,
at
really?
the Legacy Center.
Well, why aren't we there if there's free beer?
I'm going to have to make that case as to why we didn't have that show here tonight. Why weren't we there? We should be there. We could have been there. And, that's probably not a good thing to say on the air. But, all right, an interesting week for you because it's homecoming week.
Right.
Do you concern yourself with homecoming and football and all these things? Or just trying to get...
Not a whole lot, to be honest, and really never have. I mean, obviously we don't want the guys out, late Thursday night and partying and all that kind of stuff, right? But, homecoming's, special time, but it's also for, your alumni coming back and you're always wanting to put on a good show for the alumni and your former players. So, but no, I've really never worried too much about homecoming. I mean, I know we got a parade and we got a big pep rally in the stadium tomorrow night, but no, hey, these young men aren't going to bed at 10 o'clock at night anyway, so they're going to be up doing something.
They're probably playing video games.
Absolutely.
Until all hours of the night. All right, you threw everybody a surprise party last week.
Did I?
Yes, you did. You started Ryan Roberts at quarterback. You didn't tell him he told me you didn't tell him until Friday that he was starting, and he actually appreciated that, he said. But what went into that decision, and what did you think about his performance?
Well, I still got full support and belief in Nate. I really do. He's got, a cannon for an arm. He can extend plays with his legs. He's extremely smart. He cares tremendously and probably too much. He's been very successful. He's won a junior college national championship. He was the player of the year. So he's got everything he wants, but he puts a lot of pressure on himself, right? He wants to win. But he wants to do it for himself, for the team, for the community, for me, and he shared that with me this week about, he just puts too much pressure on himself. And, after the performance there at Commerce, we had to make a change, if for anything else, to kind of grab his attention, right? Rather than just coach him, tell you can't do that, you can't do that. And, again, we talked about that this week, and he understands. He's obviously... disappointed, but he also understands that he's got to perform better and he can't kind of ad-lib some things like he was. But then the flip side of that is I'm hoping he takes something away from Ryan Roberts. Ryan is, I've said this all for the last year, he's cool, calm, and collect. He never gets too high, he never gets too low. You can coach him hard and he's kind of like, okay, coach, I won't do that again. Or he can throw a 60-yard touchdown pass and kind of be, yeah, that was great, good. He's just even keeling. And maybe it's because he's a coach's son and he's been around the game for so long. But I'm hoping Nate takes a little bit from him in that area that, okay, it is just a game. Yes, we want to win and we want to win the right way and we want to win for everybody. But just have fun and play ball. And he probably played pretty free like that, when he won the national championship. And we got to get him to that point again.
Yeah, and one thing about Ryan Roberts is he, and I said this week, is he really seems to understand to get his players the ball and not have to have the numbers and not have to be the guy.
Yes.
He lets other people be the guy.
He uses his tools, right? And that's one thing I keep telling Nate is, hey, the receivers got to do their job too. The running back has to do his job too. The O-line have to do their job. So you just do yours and distribute the football and take what they give us. But, he's so competitive. He wants to be the hero on every play, and it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's a tough way to do it. Okay, let's go with what Ryan Roberts did. 17 for 30, had a great first half especially, 200 yards. Your first 200-yard throwing game of the year. I know that probably
that stings.
And the other thing is John McCall with 5 touchdown catches, has all 5 of your touchdown catches. But he really seemed to play. He seemed to not let the moment get too big for him once again.
No doubt. And that's what I love about the guy is he just goes out there and tries to run the offense, right? And I thought we had a good game plan that fit him. It was some easy checks for him here and there, and some easy RPOs for him, and then we dialed up a couple of down the field throws for him, and he connected on most of them. He wants one back. He kind of got amped up and overthrew Mackay in the end zone for another touchdown. But overall, he moved the ball. The first half was electric. I think the second half, honestly, Incarnate Word won the line of scrimmage. They really did. They won the offensive line of scrimmage. They won the defensive line of scrimmage, and that was the difference there in the second half. And that's the reason, for our struggle. But it really wasn't Ryan, per se, as much as we just weren't winning the battle in the trenches right there. And then we didn't make the tough plays. But no, very, very pleased with how Ryan orchestrated the game plan there, and then we had another young man that did the same thing in Joe Sean Barbie, another guy that kind of
we're gonna get into him next.
Popped his head up, So it wasn't the outcome we wanted, but I thought there was some good things coming out of that game for sure.
Okay, let's go with Barbie because where'd he come from? 5th on the depth
way down
chart
the line.
To start the line. And he started the year fifth on the depth chart.
Yes,
came out of nowhere, had a spectacular, especially first half, finished with 117 yards, but he looked like another guy that where the moment wasn't too big. He just seems to be in attack mode every time he gets the ball.
Well, he played, that second half of the Commerce game, in his first carry, we put the ball on the ground, his first collegiate carry, and then there was some issues in protection here and there. But, that bye week and then especially last week, we really challenged him, because he's one of the fastest guys on the team, and then pound for pound, he's one of the strongest. But he's just had some guys in front of him that are had been a little bit more polished and ready to play than he had. But to see him play that hard last week and the smile on his face and the team rally around him, was amazing. It was electric, and that's part of the reason we had such a good first half is him, because I don't know if anybody really expected it. Everybody knows he's got that ability. But hadn't been in a ball game for us yet, right? Another young guy, but he does practice really hard. He's been on scout team, for the first 6 weeks of the season, and giving the defense a great look down there and practicing extremely hard. So, but another guy right there that if he continues to work hard and as he develops and grows is electric and can be a great player for us.
Yeah, and I asked you this Monday because you talked about having to get 2 more running backs when it comes to recruiting and that. But how do you decide a walk-on like him, does he earn a scholarship or go out and get 2 new guys to add to the puzzle? How do you make those decisions?
Well, it's a tough one, but I don't think one game does it by no means. But he definitely has a chance to finish the season really strong and continue to do some good things and absolutely earn that. But we take into account their academics, their attitude, their playing, how they're going to help the program, and he can check all those boxes. He's a great student, and he's had a great attitude. He's a young man that was on the team when I first got here. And we just said he was 5th on the depth chart. And at spring we were so thin at receiver, we moved him to slot receiver in spring, and he did pretty good. But in the summer, he asked me, he says, "Coach, I really feel like I'm a running back, and am I going to get a shot to play running back?" And I said, "Well, I have no problem putting you back at running back because we're signing a lot of receivers, but you're going to have to compete. We got some guys in that room." And as fate would have it, he stuck it out. Good for him. And we've had some injuries happen here and there, and he got his opportunity. And he's going to have it again this week. We're still banged up in that room. So very excited about his opportunity and him making the most out of it.
The strange thing is, though, in this year is you're seeing a lot of guys get opportunities that maybe you didn't think they would get it at all. And he said yesterday when I talked to him a little bit that that's kind of the attitude that's kind of kept the attitude going despite the record, is because they're excited to play.
Yeah. And again, we're playing so many freshmen, redshirt freshmen, right? They're excited to get their opportunity, and it is contagious in a way that, they go out there and they're having fun at practice and they're making plays and they're taking the hard coaching and getting better. So some of the older guys have no choice but to kind of jump on, or these young guys are going to continue playing more and more and more.
And push them a little bit. All right, we got a question from the crowd.
Hey, Coach, Jim. You might tell Barbie 30 years ago there was a quarterback here on his first offensive series, fumbled and lost a fumble. His name was Kerry Joseph. He went on to, we all know how he turned out.
Absolutely.
So, you got to keep plugging. Where does he come from? His town. Where did he grow up?
Barbie honestly, that's a really good question.
I'll have to look at the program.
Yeah,
Harvey,
no
Louisiana.
doubt. I know he's Louisiana. I can't recall the high
Harvey,
school.
Louisiana.
Barbie?
Harvey,
Louisiana.
Oh, Harvey.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And not being an X's and O's guy, but evidently you certainly are. And the Incarnate Word coaches evidently were at halftime because they did some changes. Was their team, did they fire them up more? Were they doing the same thing? Did they change
They did one change. They changed quarterbacks.
Yeah,
that's the one change
remember.
they made. But no, after going back and watching the film, they were running the same exact defense they were in the first half. The difference was on Joe Sean's touchdown run, we made that block on the defensive end, who's a phenomenal player. In the second half, we didn't make that block not one time. No. And it was just our one-on-one battles. We actually lost those one-on-one battles in the second half. And I talked to my coaches about this. I've been on that side of the coin. And when you know you have confidence and when you are used to winning and you expect great things to happen, it's pretty easy to just come out the second half. All right, let's play ball as hard as we possibly can, and we're going to be fine. But where we're at right now, we talked about at halftime. Hey, it's 0-0. You men have a half to go out there and make a lifetime memory, but it's going to be extremely difficult. This second half will be a fight to the very end, I promise you. So let's go out there with the same energy, the same focus, and take one play at a time. We have to do that, man. We're not going out there like we've got the lead. So it's definitely something we talked about. Now, it didn't go our way, obviously, but I think that the more mature team lined up and won their one-on-one battles, and the less experienced team didn't win their one-on-one battles. The quarterback change helped them. It sparked them for sure, but there really wasn't any different scheme going on. We made a couple of changes here in that third quarter as far as where we're putting our running back and how we're going to reach block because we just weren't getting it done, and just wasn't effective.
On the last touchdown that they scored, that our young guys learned that you don't stop on a free play.
You can't stop on a free play. You can't. And, again, a young guy right there trying to do too much. Yeah. He shouldn't even been down there for the jumping off sides. But he was selling out to stop the run. But, yeah, we run the same thing offensively. If we get a free play, we're going to throw the thing downfield because it's a free play, But, really that last series right there, we had all 3 timeouts. And if we could have gotten, a stop and put it in 4th down, we'd have got the ball back with about a minute and a half and gone on a 2-minute offense and see what had happened. But, they did a better job running that 4-minute offense than we did getting them off the field.
Yeah. Lessons hard learned.
Absolutely. We got to not forget about these and keep them in the bank so we can grow and not make these same mistakes again.
Doing good. Thank you.
One thing to be mentioned is, though, you look at their offensive line, which really pounded you in the second half. They were all 24, 23, 24-year-old guys.
Yeah.
You're at 18. You're at 19, 19, 20.
Yeah, somebody asked me that, and I said, think about this. I know we're young. We won't always be young. We got to keep these guys and grow them. But, our tackle's 18 years old.
Yeah.
Their defensive end is 24.
Yeah.
6 years is a pretty big difference in the trenches,
especially
right?
Because
it's a
6
physical.
years in the weight room.
Yeah, it's a physical contact sport.
So that's the biggest thing. Matthew Bunnett put it together. You're the third youngest team in FCS. So, and also, you made one thing is you made their quarterback the freshman of the week nationally.
Oh, isn't that great? I did see that. I did see that.
When we come back, we'll have Coach's final thoughts on the last segment here on the McNeese PokeCast from Mr. Bills.
The McNeese PokeCast is also brought to you by Twisted Vines. They offer residential and commercial lawn and landscaping maintenance, irrigation and drainage installation and repairs, outdoor landscaping, lighting, holiday and event light installation also with 3D drawings. Contact Ryan Boyd at 337-274-2267. or email info@twistedvineslc.com. Like them on Facebook and follow on Instagram at twistedvineslc. If you mention you heard the Twisted Vines on the PokeCast, you will receive a 10% discount off your purchase. And Pompelli Tire, official tire store of McNeese Athletics. Experts in tires, EV-specific tires as well. We do more than just tires, mechanical work as well. A full-time mechanic is on site at all times to help in your needs.
We're back from Mr. Bills with Gary Goff, head football coach at McNeese State. And, Coach, you get the honor of pulling the winner. Just take one name.
Just take one.
Not a lot of names in there. Everybody's doing homecoming stuff this week. Who's the winner? James Gillette. James Gillette is the winner. Come get your... Congratulations, James. Great first name, by the way. Great first name for you. How's that? Getting back to some other things that we talked about, you have an interesting dilemma a little bit this week in the next 4 weeks. You got Ryan Roberts at quarterback as the now starter. You want to make sure you don't lose the confidence of Nate Glantz, and you want to get in Six Killer.
Yeah.
By the way, the greatest name of anybody. And he wears number 6. So, but Camden Six Killer, the freshman, you want to get him and get a look at him.
Yeah.
How are you going to juggle that?
It's I mean, first of all, the win's the most important thing, right? So we got to make sure we're putting our team in position to win. So, Ryan's going to start this week, and things are going good like they did last week. He'll continue in there, but if we're not moving the ball effectively, we're going to put Six Killer in and give him a couple cracks at it. We do want to take a look at him and put him in some pressure situations. He's had a great 3 weeks of practice. He really has. He's thrown some great balls, and he's extremely smart. He scored a 31 as a sophomore. I mean, he's brilliant. And he's got a lot of confidence, and he's got a big arm. So, it's hard to juggle. It really is. But at this juncture, like I said, we're going to do what's best for the team. But if we need a spark in the game or need a change, I'm excited to throw Six Killer in there and see what he can do.
Yeah, it does mean because if you the other day you said you were going to go quarter by quarter almost, and then in the first play of the second quarter you go for 57 yards, and it's basically Ryan Roberts' show for the night.
Right. Absolutely. Games unfold, and so much is you just can't predict, right? Let's not remember we have had a game this year where in one quarter we had 4 plays, so it's almost hard to say just quarter by quarter or series by series because we want to give them more than just one series. But it's a little bit of a feel thing for it, and I'll be honest, I've never been in the situation where I've tried to play multiple quarterbacks in a game.
Yeah,
don't like
now
it.
You got 3.
Well, let's hope 3's not going to play in a game, but it's
no, I would. Well, you never know. Another question.
All right, Coach. John McCall, ranked number 1 in the conference, 15 in the nation, 5 touchdown catches. He had an amazing catch the other night against UIW. Is he turning into that kind of player where you can just throw the ball up and let him go for it?
He is. I tell you, the one person on the roster that has matured so much in the last 6 or 7 months has been John. He has really stepped up, and I wouldn't say he's out there as a leader of the team yet, but he cares a lot. He's contacted me after some tough games and said that he wants to do anything and everything he can to help the team. And a year ago, that wasn't him. A year ago, he was still acting like a freshman and the cool kid in the room, right? But he's worked really hard. I think the sky's the limit for him. He's still got a lot of room for improvement. I think that some people no longer here has helped him, honestly, because he's a good kid that loves playing the game, and sometimes, especially those skill players, it's easy just to go out there and run routes or cover somebody, and that's all you're doing. But John has really started paying attention to all the little details this entire season. I think Coach Roundtree has done a great job mentoring him in that room. But no, he's somebody that we definitely look to go to now. I think the quarterbacks are all comfortable with him, and we expect him to make big plays. But I think he's just scraping, the top right now. He's got so much room for improvement.
Now, his development is almost as much off the field as it is on.
100%.
Because I remember you saying in the spring you weren't sure what he was going to be.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden he's the guy.
No, I think he's taking it serious. He understands that, if you're late to weights, there's consequences. If you're not going to class, you're not playing. And sometimes it's hard for some young guys to, you go to college, you get all this freedom, right? And maybe I don't go to school today. Maybe I don't go to class today. And it can be dangerous. And I think he's matured a lot in that area, knowing that he's got to get his degree, he's got to go to class, he's got to be on time, and he's done all those things right. And a year ago maybe wasn't the case.
Well, yeah, but not. I know you're not going to say it, but I can say it is. That was pretty lax before you got here on some of that stuff. Just so you know, you probably saw that last year. There's a lot of cleanup to do on that.
Yeah, but going back to John, I'm really proud of him. I really am. And we didn't give up on him. He didn't give up on learning and working hard. And he's got a family that cares, and they want him to get his degree and be great as well. And I think he's finally realized, okay, it's time to do that and not waste this opportunity.
Do you see him and Paris being able to kind of be a team that can move forward?
Yeah, but that whole group. That whole group has gotten pretty tight. Him and Mackay and Jermichael and Corey O'Brien, they all kind of encourage and cheer for each other and expect each other to do great things. And John's kind of been the leader of that group, and I think they do feed off each other.
And even they're pretty young.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely, they're young, all of them.
Have you ever had this young of a football team?
No. In our rebuilding at Tiffin, we were pretty young. That second year we pretty much cleaned house. The first year, second year we were pretty young. And then the third year they started figuring some things out, and then the fourth year it really took off. But even then, I don't remember starting this many true freshmen or redshirt freshmen. But it's where we're at, and we'll definitely be better of it because of it down the road. But at the same time, it's a new day and age. We got to keep these guys together, and the portal's a dangerous thing. And I think every coach across the country is still trying to figure out how to orchestrate this portal. And it wasn't too long ago it didn't exist. It was a lot easier.
Yeah, and you got to keep your guys.
Absolutely, that's the most important thing.
Keeping your guys is almost more important than what you're going to get bringing in.
100%.
Kind of a strange situation now, because you want to play kids like a 6-go to give him some shots and see, and so he stays, and if you do that, somebody else does. It's a lot of chess pieces you're moving around.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, so let's go into Northwestern State. They're 0-6. They've had a difficult time. They've had tragedy in their team.
Yeah.
Ronnie Caldwell Jr. was shot and killed in an off-campus incident. You guys are going to have a moment of silence for him before the game. What do you expect to see from them, and is anything wide open with them?
Well, I think they're going to come in here and play extremely hard. They've been through a really tough season as well, but then they've had the tragedy that you just mentioned, and sometimes that can bring some people really close, right? So I expect them to come here and play really hard. They've a lot like our season, the ball just hasn't bounced their way at all. But this is the oldest rivalry there is in the league, right? So I'm sure, and it's homecoming for us, and it would make their season at this point to come in here and spoil the homecoming. I've talked about that to our team all week, and it's still about us. It's not about Northwestern. It's about how we're going to line up and play. If we can improve off of last week and move in the right direction, then I love it. I love where we're at. But we can't take a step backwards, and we have done that throughout the season at times too. So this week's practice has been very important to us, and that's why I've been really hard about keeping the energy and coaching all the little things, but still having fun, but being strict to our standards. But no, they're going to play hard. They do have some talent. They do. They're shuffling some quarterbacks as well for various reasons. I think they got 3 wideouts that are really, really good. They have a good running game, and I think they got 2 linebackers that are really, really good. But they've had their ups and downs just like we had.
And depending on who they start, it looks like they're starting the quarterback now that is going to run the football too. A little bit more. Yeah,
a little bit. I don't know if their starter got injured last week. There's been reports he's playing, been reports he's not. So who knows? We got to prepare based on what they do and what they put on film, but then expect the unexpected. Both programs are desperate for a win, and you got to expect everything. The surprise onside kicks, the fake punts, everything and anything to spark a group. So yet another thing we've been talking a lot about this week, and being assignment sound and having our eyes in the right place.
How do you go from discouraging at the end of the week last week, and you said there was a lot of guys that were hurting in the locker room after that game, to getting them to be encouraged by how well they played for especially the first half? How do you kind of flip that switch?
Well, I mean, I think I shared with you. I talked to him a week ago about the Stockdale paradox. So I kind of reminded them a little bit about that. Let's not focus on the shoulda, coulda, woulda, or well, hey, we hope we get a win next week. Let's focus on the right now and how can we make the right now better and give our best effort. So we went through our mistakes, and then I pointed out all the positives. I mean, you can see on our film that the sideline is just pumping and having fun and cheering each other, and somebody scores and the whole team. I talked to him too about you can't leave the sidelines after somebody scores. You want to talk about how young we are. There's a couple of touchdowns where the entire sideline's in the end zone celebrating. You can't do that. That's a flag, but they were so excited. The team's down there celebrating in the end zone, and I'm trying to frantically get them back on the sideline. But I talked about, encouraging one another is a lot more fun than placing blame and yelling and pouting and having a horrible attitude. And they agreed, and then we pointed out the Joe Shawn's play, the Ryan Roberts play, other freshmen that are playing and doing some great things. And, all week's been that way, is focusing on the positives. You have to. We don't have a choice right now. Everybody else is negative. Let them be negative. We need to focus on the good things.
But are you seeing it as some of the guys that have left? Are you seeing kind of a different change as the younger guys are getting their chances?
Absolutely.
And the attitude
absolutely
spring up of just happy to play?
Attitude's everything. It really is, even for us adults. And keep in mind, these guys are not fully developed, maturity. And even for us, we have a choice to wake up every day and have a great attitude and go do our best, or we can wake up and feel tired and be mad because of this, that, and the other, and it's going to be a horrible day, right? So they're getting some life lessons right now that they might not realize at this moment. But, I'm and trust me, I've been in the tank with the best of us, right? But when I walk in that office in front of those guys, hey, it's all positive. Let's attack the day and have a lot of fun with it. And I'll give them credit. I'm pretty proud of how they've acted the last 3 weeks. I really am. It's not been easy for them, and I get it. But trying to teach them we have no choice but to do the best we can right now and not focus on down the road. Focus on where we're at right now and how can we make it the best.
Where's D'Angelo Durham at as far as the
D'Angelo's playing. He's practiced all week. There's been no limitations on him. He's been in all the team periods. He's anxious. He's chomping to get back out there. D'Lo's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. He really is.
After last year.
Yeah, and he would have played last week if Hunter and myself would have really pushed the envelope. We really need you. He wanted to, but we just thought it was at best that he's 100% healthy this week rather than go out there and re-injure himself.
How about Kobe Ham?
Don't think so. Don't think Kobe will be ready. He's still. We'll see tomorrow, but as I sit right now, I don't expect that.
What about Bugsy?
Had surgery yesterday and is doing great. But
is he out for the year then?
Yeah.
So when you do that now, you're getting a little bit thinner in the secondary.
Jim, I know these things. I don't know why you got to bring them up to me. I know. Yeah, we are. But you know what? Thomas Miles has played a lot this year, and he's another young guy that's going to continue getting some more experience.
That group has played pretty well this year.
They have. Jamori Evans is also, played a lot of football. But you're right, we're thin back there, but it is what it is. We are getting Vaughn Davis back this week, so he'll be playing. Hey, next man up, right? It's got to be that way.
You're not going to be as thin as you were last year in the secondary.
Don't say that yet. You better knock on wood somewhere right now. Don't say that.
You were bringing up kids.
We were young last year.
I did have somebody ask me at halftime why I didn't talk about Barbie earlier in the year, and I go, I didn't know anything about it.
Well, I mean, again, he's a walk-on that's down the depth chart and hadn't played for us.
No, But he was, we also said he was one play away from breaking that game wide open.
Two plays on film. One was on a 3rd and long. He's an arm tackle away from going about 60.
And a 31-7 lead.
And yes, and then late in the game, on a third down. He broke to their sideline, and he was one guy away from scoring again. So, just right on the edge right there of having a big night.
McNeese State plays its homecoming game against Northwestern State, 7 o'clock inside Cowboy Stadium. If you can't be at the game, you can listen to it on 92.9 FM The Lake. This is Jim Gazzola with the PokeCast. I want to thank our guests, Gary Goss, Sasha Karlov, and Drew Fitzgerald tonight, and we'll see you next week.